Welcome to Setting the Record Straight, where we give you the facts, not fluff. My name is Silence from Airsoft Team OSMD, and as most of you know, I've been a professional airsoft technician for a little over half a decade now. Today I'm going to talk to you about Novritsch's video titled "What's the Best Shotgun?" Now, I'm going to break down the various guns that he recommends in his video and explain my thoughts on them. Now, the link to Novritsch's full video is in the description if you would like to see it for yourself. Now, to kick things off, the first gun that he recommends as the best shotgun, quote unquote, is an AA-12 electric shotgun by Tokyo Marui, which this was actually a shotgun that came out a little bit over a year ago, I believe, and it was an awesome idea because for the longest time, the only shotguns that were really available were the tri-shot Springer variety. There was gas shotguns, but they weren't really fielded or combat effective, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But it was an awesome idea because it shot basically 30 rounds per second. It shot 10 rounds a second, but it shot 3 BBs at a time, and it was an electric design, like a gearbox. However, when I got really excited about this and I thought about purchasing one, but then I looked into the technical aspects of it, and that's what I usually do. I don't really just look at a gun and say, oh, it's shiny, I'm going to buy it. I like to break things down and see what potential it has to be the best gun on the field per se. And I don't recommend the AA-12 from Tokyo Marui for one main reason, and it's because the hop-up is very poorly executed. Traditional hop-up, the whole point of hop-up is to get additional range and accuracy by spinning your BB, giving it backspin. The AA-12 has 3 separate hop-up chambers, which is exactly what you want. However, not all 3 hop-ups spin the BB up. The barrel on the left spins the BB left, and the barrel on the right spins the BB right. So what you effectively have is a single shot gun where the middle barrel is actually going the way you want it, straight, and the other ones fall at about 50 feet. And if the only thing you can do about that is make them curve more farther away from your target. So it turns this weapon into a CQB gun, which is okay, but if they would have made those hop-up chambers oriented up, it would have been an awesome weapon because you would have been able to R-hop all 3 barrels and lap all 3 barrels, and you would have an amazingly accurate weapon that would feed at ridiculous rates of fire because you could upgrade it. It shoots 30 rounds a second stock, and it would be very easy to upgrade that to 50 a second, and it would feed. It would just be a nightmare for the enemy team. But because they chose not to do that, it kind of neuters that weapon. So I don't recommend that, even though Novritsch does. Plus, it's extremely expensive. Mags alone, drum mag for it is very expensive also. Now, I can't believe that Novritsch doesn't recommend, they're switching gears here, I can't believe that Novritsch doesn't recommend the simple UTG multi-shot shotgun. Many players don't know how to do hop-up modifications to these guns. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, for usually about $40 you can buy a tri-shot shotgun that they used to be higher than that. It used to be like $70, but most of them are all the same. Certain companies like SEMA and other ones have thrown out full metal versions, but the traditional mechanic is the same. It's 2 springs inside. They're actually coiled inside of each other to make them harder to pull. You pump that back, and it pulls back a triple-shaped piston. It's one assembly, but it's 3 piston heads, and each piston head compresses air in a different cylinder. And each one of those cylinders has a nozzle, and it powers air down each of 3 barrels. So essentially you have 1 pump and 1 pull of the trigger, and you have 3 rounds going down range. And it was done in a very reliable way. And ever since the Chinese started making them, I guess Tokyo Marui didn't renew their patents or whatever, the Chinese came on, and now they're like $40. And I personally own one for 4 years, and I used it as a backup all the time, and it never broke on me. Now it eventually did, the stock eventually did break. It got really loose, and I couldn't fix it. It stripped out. But I mean, I got 4 years of hard use on that gun as a secondary, and it only cost $40. So to the fact that Novritsch doesn't recommend this gun, whether you're a new player or an advanced player, I mean, it's a serious contender for the best shotgun. I mean, the other ones that he talks about really can't, and you can, don't even get me started. It's such a good gun for a new player, but people think that it's just for new players. The one that I owned, I actually tricked out, and I'm not talking about externals. These guns, you can modify them to shoot better internally. You can lap all 3 barrels. If you don't know what barrel lapping is, check out the video I did on why you should get your airsoft barrel lapped. Makes them tremendously more accurate. You can shoot a man's head at 100 feet. I mean, some people's bolt actions can't even do that. And I mean, you can slam fire it, and it can just use .25s, and you can get very good accuracy out of it, and you don't really have to do that much to it. And it's a great way to get into the sport with a reliable and low-cost solution. And that's all I'm going to really say about it. That's my recommendation for the best airsoft shotgun. But let's get back to what Novritsch was talking about in his video. The next one that he recommended was the TM Breacher, which is basically a gas-operated pump-action Remington 870 type shotgun. And this shot between 3 and 6 rounds at a time. So this is a step up in terms of both cost and complexity, we'll say. So originally, the tri-shot shotguns only shot 3 at a time, but the TM Breacher has the ability to shoot 6 at a time. But in my opinion, it's only a good choice if it's HPA tapped, because I know a guy who owns one, and even in moderately warm weather, around 50 degrees, he can't get many shots out of it. A good benefit to that, or one benefit to the TM Breacher or the TM 870, is the gas one we're talking about now. It does take regular shotgun shells, the ones that are readily available and used with the spring shotguns. So it's nice there, but if it's only good if you HPA tap it. So now you have to have an additional expense there, and those guns aren't very cheap. They're quite expensive, unless you get the Breacher model, which is the sawed-off kind of no pistol grip, or it's just the no stock version. It's just the pistol grip shotgun version. The cost of it is significantly higher, so I right out of the gate, I hesitate to recommend something that's over like $250, because most people are not gonna be able to spend that. And even worse, when they do spend that, then if it doesn't work how they expected it to work, then they get upset and they might leave the sport. And that's one of the things that I hate the most, is when someone recommends something and they don't think about what they're doing, and it ends up with people leaving the sport. And that's bad for everyone. We don't want this sport to dry up. We want people to enjoy themselves, have a good time, not have to spend a lot of money, and that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. So I would not recommend the TM Breacher in any way, shape, or form, unless you HPA tap it. But again, you're going to spend more money. So it's really only a contender if you have a big wallet, So, and that some people do. I'm not even going to get into that now. Now, one of the last ones that Novritsch said was the best shotgun ever was a shell ejecting shotgun that I believe he used in one of his videos. And if you ask me, shell ejecting shotguns or bolt actions or whatever in airsoft are the dumbest thing ever. Like, shell ejecting is wildly unreliable. Shell ejecting guns are extremely expensive and, in my opinion, impractical pieces of garbage. I can't recommend that any serious airsofter uses one. I mean, think about it. You're on the field. You have these shells that are ridiculously expensive. You fire. You're getting shot at, and you're trying to focus on playing, and you just pump the gun just to be able to put another round into the chamber, and your shell just goes flying somewhere. I mean, that's money out of your pocket. I mean, unless you're a reenactor, if you actually play airsoft seriously and are trying to win, do not buy a shell ejecting shotgun. I can't believe that he recommended this as the best airsoft shotgun. It's just ridiculous. And I've reached my 10-minute cutoff, so I want to say thanks for listening into episode 3 of Setting the Record Straight. My name is Silenced, and as always, guys, have a good day.